people have a really very narrow mindset when they think data can only be analyzed with the last software. So that time when we were doing all this review as an internal auditor, it was very difficult for us because data was physically stored. The registers were lying back in the backyard and no one was there to see it or analyze it. And so we analyzed a report of time-wise bill analysis where we found that most of the manual bills were done at the day end. And we found out that all these bills were actually fake bills which were being generated at the store level at midnight, 11 o'clock, 11:30. What are the gaps which are there? If you plug the gaps, you can stop the fraud in that. Not only that, you can predict frauds in that. But now internal auditors are more for risk advisory, where they will understand what are the risks, what are the controls to mitigate those risks, and it has to be a continuous process. Vendors and this can be identified. So it is of a perspective of a seeing how fraud can happen. You have to think like a fraudster, and thereafter simple mapping. It can be done with basic Power BI or Excel itself. And so there are basic softwares like Python which can work with any quantum of data. You should have the GPU required for it, and you can take out lots of information about it. So things have become simplified and works can be done faster. It is on the mindset how to do it.
Your job.
This is a myth, I would say. Use it. If you don't know that outcome is correct or not, please don't use it. And the firm has to think out of the box. The age-old practice has to be done away with. They think as an auditor, our work is just to go and check voucher. Business.
Absolutely.
And once you start adding value, you become the partner to their growth. They will be there. Connect with them. Everyone wants to work. There's no one who wants to sit idle. Why? Why should I invest from my pocket? After 2 months, I'll get the reimbursement. After 3 months, I'll get the reimbursement. So the client started paying in advance. See, frankly speaking, 1 year, 2 years down the line, internal auditors will not be required. Discussion. Please remember that most of the CA are doing 90% time reconciliation.
While you are driving a car, you have the rear view mirror, right? And it says that the objects are much more closer to what they appear to be.
Right? Yeah. So it's high time we adapt technology, or it will be all about survival of the fittest.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Data to Insights, where today we would be conversing with Mr. CA Vivek Agarwal, specifically focusing on how analytics and AI is becoming a transformative force when it comes to internal audit. Now, there has been a paradigm shift in how internal audit is being taken up today. It is not just ticking the checkboxes. It is more in terms of identifying what the risks could be, how analytics and AI can help detect frauds in the internal audit domain, and what better insights can be given or can be derived out of the huge amount of data that is prevailing within the organization, which can be leveraged by the businesses houses to make strategic decisions. So we would be talking about these broad areas. We will go in depth in some of the specific areas with Mr. CA Vivek Agarwal. We welcome Mr. CA Vivek Agarwal. Vivek, if you can help us understand your journey in terms of how you have seen the transformative age of internal audit when it comes to just tick in the box to how the AI and analytics is transforming this space.
Thanks, Deepak. When we say about data analytics, people have a really very narrow mindset when they think data can only be analyzed with the last software. When we see, or I would see my journey as a CA, during my articleship, I have done lots of audit of retail industry, whereby all the data were manual and we had to digitalize that. Example, when we are doing audit for, say, a retail store, we see a person standing outside and counting the number of people entering that store. That count is again fed in a register manually. From those manual register, I remember doing a marketing audit in say 2010. From those registers, we used to take the walk-ins, which was cumulated for the year, month-wise, week-wise, and then the average bill size and number of people who have actually purchased from the walk-in. So what was the turnover of the people who walked into the store, actually purchased, and then what was the average bill size. So that time when we were doing all this review as an internal auditor, it was very difficult for us because data was physically stored. The registers were lying back in the backyard and no one was there to see it or analyze it. And that is how my journey as data analytics started. Thereafter, we always see that bills are getting generated in any retail store from morning to evening to night. But many a time when you go to any store, you would see that the server is down. So you have to have a manual bills. So we analyzed a report of time-wise bill analysis where we found that most of the manual bills were done at the day end. And we found out that all these bills were actually fake bills which were being generated at the store level at midnight, 11 o'clock, 11:30. So these are the basic data which were in manual form. And we tried to analyze that by converting into digital data. But now, most of the data are there in the system itself. Whether you are working from Tally to SAP to Oracle or to Zoho, everything is there on digital world. Earlier, when we used to say people to do sales analysis, they used to just check the sales bill. But now, you just dump the sales register and you try to analyze the customers who are added during the year, the customers who left us, why they left us, what was the average bucketing of the customer, say in a large organization, who are the customers purchasing more than 1 crore, who are between 75 lakh to 1 crore, and then with that target size, you see why or how we take that customer to the next level. So these insights were never there. It was just in the system, a sales register is there and the management used to be very happy that this is my sales number. But no one used to see those data and make information out of it. And this is how data analytics is changing things.
And how is that decision, which was not happening, let's say 10 years back, is helping business organizations and per se making CAs more as a strategic advisor than to be just an auditor?
Just see, as an internal auditor, when you are saying that your sales has increased from last year to 10%, the management used to be very happy. Oh man, I have increased 10% of top line. But now when you say, sir, you have increased 10% growth, but you have lost 5 customers who were in the top bracket and 20 customers has added during the year. So management will say, okay, 10% was there, but had we retained those 5 customers, it could have been 30%. So what went wrong? Whether my sales team is not asking that people to give orders, or is their relationship has gone for a toss? And then when you go inside, you will understand that the person who was visiting that customer is not visiting that customer, or the person has left and the new person who has joined, he is not able to make the relationship. So that insights as an internal auditor, when you are giving to a management, it helps in strategizing things, whom to take, who are your key employees, to make sure to retain them, because the cost may be 20% of the sale. That single employee. So that is the value addition internal auditors as a chartered accountant can make by just not saying your sales has increased by 10%, but which SKU is moving forward, which SKUs are being ordered with other SKUs. When you go deep dive in that sales register, you'll get lots and lots of information, and that sales register is not required to be in SAP or Oracle, but it can be a simple sales register from Tally itself.
Yeah, absolutely. You rightly said that it is predominantly going to the nth level, understanding what the root cause is, or doing something called diagnostic analytics, and then sharing those insights to the top management. Now, my question is, what percentage of CA practitioners are doing this sort of activities? Because why I'm saying this, internal audit till date, is being taken as a management function, that, look, I am giving you the opportunity or responsibility to go do the internal audit or the process review of a specific business function in a span of, let's say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks timeline. You go into discussing the same with your stakeholders to that business function. They relay the data sharing, right? So you have practically, 7 to 10 days of effective time to do the entire audit, prepare the report, right? So whenever we see those internal audit reports, it gives a sense of just scratching the surface, right? So how many of the CA firms, they're actually going and doing those diagnostic analytics, considering the time gap, and how AI and analytics can be a savior in this?
Deepak, I would like to say in that things have changed. 5 years back, it was more of a transaction audit. But now internal audit has to be a process audit. And when a CA earlier used to go, he used to try and see everything in every quarter. But now internal audit has to be planned. You can say that finance I will check every quarter, but some of the areas like in first quarter I'll do only sales, second quarter I'll do only HR, third quarter I'll do only purchase. Thereby, when you are doing a process review, instead of transaction review, you go in depth in the process, you try to check what are the controls which are there, and then seeing the controls, what are the gaps which are there. If you plug the gaps, you can stop the fraud in that. Not only that, you can predict frauds in that. As a sale, when you are seeing in one store, the time-wise sale analysis, understanding that at the night time manual bills are being done, you try to replicate this in all the stores, and whenever you have any exception, any red flag above the acceptable level, then and there itself you get to know the data that this store is having this issue. So as I was saying, those days are gone when internal auditor will go once in a year for 10-15 days and 1 week he will do audit. That is more of a compliance internal audit. But now internal auditors are more for risk advisory, where they will understand what are the risks, what are the controls to mitigate those risks, and it has to be a continuous process. It cannot be now same old sampling basis audit. It has to be continuous audit where the internal auditor has to integrate all the exceptions to a dashboard and thereby give a red flag whenever there is a red flag or exceptions coming to them. Like a simple example, in any large organization, you have SAP Oracle database. From that, you can just link a Power BI dashboard and say a PO which is going above the acceptable level. Instead of me coming after 1 year and saying that this PO had exceeded the acceptable level, it gives a red flag on the day itself that this PO had exceeded the acceptable level, and the reply has to come the next day itself. So you can prevent the fraud, you can prevent the risk which is there. So internal audit has moved to more of a continuous audit rather than the one-time audit or one-time affair which many corporates do. And the CS has to understand, if they don't value add to a client, if they are not in the growth part or strategy part, it will be really difficult for them to go in the practice of profession.
Thanks Vivek, sharing this wonderful insight of continuous audit system rather than a periodic one, right? Can you share some more example where this continuous audit system can be implemented within an organization by a CA practicing CA firm, and what are generally the frameworks that needs to be developed by a CA firm just to this continuous auditing system implemented?
See, when we talk about continuous auditing system, any organization for that matter has to has the sales intact and procurement intact. In one of my assignments, I had seen that we used to do monthly audit, whereby we tried to map all the bank accounts of each and every vendor and see whether two bank accounts were linked to single bank accounts were linked to multiple vendors, and we found that there was 4 vendors having same bank account number. So when we went in depth in that, it was found that those bank accounts and those vendors were none other than the relatives of the employee of the company, and the employee was himself in charge of giving the order to the vendor. So this again gives a aspect that when you're having a risk, we know what can go wrong, and thereafter we are trying to implement the control that by just checking the bank account number whom payment is going and mapping it with the vendor, you get the fraud identified. With this factor, when we were doing the monthly audit or continuous audit in that client, we got to know that this month this fraud had happened. And when we went back to the people and asked why it is happening, it was said it was the thought on that two bank accounts can be one bank account can be linked to two vendors and this can be identified. So it is of a perspective of a see how fraud can happen. You have to think like a fraudster, and thereafter simple mapping. It can be done with basic Power BI or Excel itself, and you get to do such value additions to the client, and we can save the leakage of revenue for clients as the auditor.
Absolutely. So the approach should be more of a proactive approach rather than a post facto
Correct.
auditing of the system.
Correct.
Okay. How would you, deliberate on the topic of big data? Now we are getting into a stage where massive amount of data is getting generated. Sampling based auditing system is going to get redundant. You have technologies which can analyze past 5 years, 10 years of historical data, identify patterns, identify red flags, risks for the organization. So what are your thoughts around that big data, and what sort of technologies can be leveraged by your CA firms to analyze those big data?
Deepak, I would just say a small point in that. This I keep on saying in my other seminars also. Earlier we used to go and buy from a kirana shop. He used to have 20, 30, 40 transactions in a day, which amounts to say 1200 transactions in a month. And we as an auditor used to go and audit those. Yeah. But now think of going and auditing of daily your direct to consumer companies, or say Blinkit or Zepto, and amount of transactions happening every second, amount of transactions happening every minute. And as an auditor, if you go at the year end and say, I want to do a serious extra review, whether it will be practically possible in Excel for that matter. So there are basic softwares like Python, which can work with any quantum of data. You should have the GPU required for it, and you can take out lots of information about it. You just think the way marketers are getting data. This year we served so many kgs of biryani. This year we served so many cold drinks bubble. So that is the data which is required for marketing also. So that sales system, which was just giving you the top lines, now is giving you marketing ideas. And not only that, see how the government of India now gives the data. We had so many demat accounts opened. We had so many bank accounts open. So many customers were having mobile phone. So marketing is requiring data from sales, which has already happened post facto. So managing big data with basic software like Python to start with mid-size CA firm is really very necessary. So I would say softwares like Power BI, softwares like Python, these are the basics which a CA firm should start thinking and making sure their team has. You would be surprised, many firms still don't know the basic usage of pivot table in Excel, leave alone Python and leave alone Power BI. So this gap has to be filled, or else it will be really difficult for them to survive in this competitive world.
Talking about the skills, right? It was one of the topic which I wanted to touch with in the last segment of the podcast. But since you took up this, what sort of skills needs to be augmented, needs to be taken up by these CA firms in order to be appraised with top-notch firms, let's say, in this technologically competitive world?
When we say about skills, the basics which are there, obviously Excel, PowerPoint is there. But apart from that, I think every kids should know basic coding and learn Python, R, basic any visualization software like Tableau or Power BI. And I would say in this ChatGPT world, they don't have to learn coding. They should know how to open a Python file, close the Python file, and codes are there from ChatGPT to copy and just put in. So we used to, I remember you would have done that visual basic classes of CA and IT. Very
absolutely.
We used to learn that codes. But now, and then thereafter, there was a time we used to go to Google and say VBA code for this, VBA code for that. Now, you go to ChatGPT and say, I want to do this. This is my column, and they gives us the code for any generative AI. So things have become simplified, and works can be done faster. It is on the mindset how to do it. And as a chartered accountant, we know the 360 view, how to apply, where to apply. And if we are just able to connect the dots, we can perform really good for any company. And when we start giving value addition, we'll get the benefits out of it. So basic for any CA firm or any article or any staff for that matter is they should learn Excel, invest in skill set. They should learn Python or any coding language. They should learn Power BI. That is the basic to start for. And when I'm talking about R, there's lot of problem identifying related party transaction. I was doing this audit of a company where there was 300 subsidiary associate joint ventures, and to get out the relationship from them,
It becomes very difficult.
it becomes very difficult. So in R there's something called Graphy code. So you just have to have the notes whereby you have company A having director ABC, company B having director ABC. Just upload that Excel file and they will show you the network, which director is related to where and how each companies are related. So this sort of relationship, identifying second layer, third layer or fourth layer, becomes very, very easy. It's a matter of seconds if you have data ready. Earlier, we used to go one by one, please check who is director over here, who is director over there. Same thing for shareholder. So this will give you within a click of a second overview of the related party transaction, which is again a debatable topic now in CA fraternity and in corporate world, and a big challenge for CFOs and CXOs because regulators are coming heavily behind it, whether it's SEBI, ROC, anyone. So a basic thing, you know the codes, don't know, go to ChatGPT, you know how to open Python, how to close it, and it can be done within seconds.
Absolutely. And I mean, just taking a cue to what you said regarding this network analysis for the related parties, humongous amount of time is invested talking to secretarial team, running behind the accounts team, identifying.
And you won't get a correct answer till the budget sign.
Absolutely.
Every next day there's a pinpoint, okay, we missed this last year.
Absolutely. And I mean, the PL, balance sheet, everything gets confirmed, the numbers gets confirmed. But related party is one such area where the things get changed from the very last top. Right. Okay. Let's take a very small example of, procurement, right? Starting from, getting into the assignment, getting the data from the relevant stakeholders to delivering the report to the top management, right? What generic process that traditional internal auditor used to follow, and how some of the processes in specific can be substituted by analytics and AI for effective, auditing process. If you can, share some light.
Sure. When we say procurement, as I say, after sales, procurement is one of the most basic and important area. When we are talking about procurement,
one of the most problematic
area because any company, if you say asset intensive company, they have only one problem. Vivek, stores and spares inventory are going up. My cost of padding is going up, and then it becomes non-moving. Then you ask for provision, then you have to write off. So first, we ask our client, boss, please check any item above a limit, say 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 20 lakh. Who has ordered this? Yes. When was this ordered? Why was this ordered and why it has not been consumed? Number one. Once this things go in a system, people will be reluctant to order something which is not required. Number two, whenever anything is ordered, people just go and check that multiple quotations are there or not. You just have the data of who had given the quotation of a specific item. In one of our case, we found out that for 20 items, which was the expensive item being purchased by the company regularly, there was 3 multiple quotations. All the 3 were giving quotations for all the 20 items regularly.
Okay.
And they were never the L1.
Okay.
When we discussed with the team, we came to a conclusion that this multiple quotation was just being prepared and taken to document so that the controls which are there can be camouflaged.
So how analytics and AI can help train when it is kind of fact?
So whenever there is a L1 is there, you just see that Mr. X gets L1. What is the timing of that L1 quotation which has come? whether that L1 had come just after L2 had given, or the L2 had come just after the L1 was given. The timing will tell you that this becomes L2 every time after L1 is given, and the L2, L3 which is there, their quotation always come the last. So it can be concluded that L1 had given a quote, the bid was known, thereafter L2 and L3, the quotation was taken, and it was just to camouflage the control which was there of multiple quotation. Secondly, now we have any procurement e-way-bills are there, gate registers are there, giants are there. Internal auditors goes to a factory and just checks whether goods has come in or not. We have to go deeper. We have the GRN date, we have the GRN time. What time the vehicle had come and checked, what time vehicle went out, what was the stat of the vehicle. If any vehicle is staying more than the requisite time, what was the reason for that? Thereafter, if my vehicle is coming in and going out, whether on the tear wear and gloss it was taken or not, how many times same vehicle is coming inside. It is not possible for a vehicle to stay in my factory, go out, bring the goods back within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. This will give you, whenever such instance happen, to be correct that in 10 minutes the vehicle is getting gloss wear and tear wear, the system will block itself. Please check the vehicle number. So many a time, just because you have to fill the data, it fills the data, but again the data is incorrect. Thirdly, whenever we are filling the driver's license number, it has to be checked when the goods are going out or coming in, if the insurance is my, whether it's a valid license number or not. And with technology which has come, you can just do a web calling and get the data in a system itself by just giving the driver number. You talked about vendor management and procurement. MSME is a pain point for many companies. Who is small, who is medium, and when to make a payment. In those cases, the system itself will pull the data from the government website once you have the data with you, the MSME number. So MSME details can come in, and after every 40 days, the management gets a report. These are the MSME where overdue is happening in next point. This pay them. So this can avoid the regulators' interest which is required on the MSME app.
So this can be a part of the continuous audit.
That's the auditing process. Yesterday, I was sitting with one of the clients. They have a pain point that advances are given, work is not happening. So we have implemented over there. Every month, first date, there will be an aging report coming automatically from the system. Who are 3 months old, the advance given, who are 6 months old, and it goes directly to the respective concerned person. They have to give a reply over there, and the cumulative report that comes by the evening to the CFO. So all this continuous auditing procedure and basic things which we are doing regularly has to be implemented in the software itself. And nowadays with API and the way technology is moving, the integration and the bridging of the software has become very easy. So any external software can be just tagged and data can be captured and report can be pulled.
Any practical example how AI has helped in your audit function identify fraudulent transactions or red flagging certain transactions?
AI per se, I have not actually moved inside in application of it in my day-to-day audits, but generative AI has really helped me. Whenever, whichever assignment you go for, you have to do risk assessment. And earlier it was that what will be the risks for this? What will be the control for this? So now when we start any assurance division audit for that matter, so this is the industry, you give a prompt, this is the industry, these are the areas in which they are working, these are the data which are readily available in the market about the company. Tell me what can be the risk of similar industries. So they will give you say 10 risk. And from that 10 risk, I then go each sector wise. In sales, there is a risk of fraud. What are the other risks which can be there? What are the controls in that? And when you do a walkthrough of that only, you will get good amount of control lapses.
Okay.
And with regulators like NAFLA and all coming up, this documentation is also required. So this generative AI has helped me in all these aspects.
So starting from or internal audit assignments to conducting some of the audits using, you said that Python or Power BI, because these are some of the tools which would help you delve deeper into that big data concept and identify certain transactions, certain patterns of transactions which a lay person or a human being would not be able to identify with that.
Not only that, it gives you time. Just think, as you said, you have 10 days for an audit. You go to audit for an NBFC company. They have, say, 3,000 listed company shares. So I just make a small Python code whereby the Python will just have the data from my CSV file of these other companies with their JC index name. It will do a web calling on the BASE website and give me the sales, the market value of the closing date. Earlier, we used to go for each script, search for it, write down what was the market price. So when you're doing that for a small company with 5-10 scripts, it's okay. But with 3,000 scripts, like say any Bajaj Finserv type of company, it's time consuming. So the Python code will just do a web calling, give it a data. Not only that, it will also do a web calling whereby they will say out of this scripts, this company had issued dividend. This is the number of shares you had. So this is the amount of dividend which should have been booked. So you can check the amount of dividend which was booked. You can check the face value, fair valuation, where you have to go for fair valuation to OCI or fair value to PL, and within seconds, that data is ready with you. Checking has been done, which was earlier aspect of 3 or 4 days. Not only that, as you are asking about generative AI, just think, you are sitting before the board meeting. The management says, Vivek, we are planning to give bonus. Can we watch what note I have to give in my financials? And the board meeting is after 15 minutes. It used to happen, we used to search Google, like left, right, center, try to get some listed company limited review report and give the note from there. You just go to any generative AI, the company is going to give a dividend or company is going to give bonus. Tell me which company had given bonus in last 2 years along with the record date and then limited review quarter result following it along with the notes. Within 10 seconds, you will get at least 10 companies there with the record date when they are given, and just you can check the limited review report and say if you want to give a detailed note for annual report. Again, earlier it used to be 3 or 4 days assignment where a single article or CEO was just searching the website, who has given dividend, who has given bonus, who has split the shares, and what will be the note. And it is now a matter of seconds.